In my opinion, nothing gives NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and the league itself and the sports media involved a bigger raging Roger in their Goodell groin regions than seeing two of their media darling white quarterbacks facing off in a big time playoff game. We all know this to be true. Imagine the media hype if it was Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game. Well, for the NFL and the NFL media, they didn't quite get their ultimate dream matchup. But that's okay for them because they still got the next best thing. They've got Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady, Indianapolis Colts versus New England Patriots, Sunday afternoon at Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. So the NFL is still relatively pleased and very, very happy. And this is the matchup that I've been anticipating since the offseason. This is the matchup that I thought was going to happen. The Colts versus the Patriots in the AFC Championship game with a Super Bowl appearance at stake. Now, when you look at this matchup, how did these teams get here? You've got the Indianapolis Colts, who were 11-5, AFC South champions. They beat the Bengals in the wild card round 26-10. Then they went on the road and beat the Broncos convincingly, in my opinion, 24-13 in the divisional round. They made Peyton Manning look bad, and they were able to protect Andrew Luck against a pass rush of the Broncos that was supposed to be able to get pressure on him all game long. They didn't hit him one single time. The Colts are heading in the right direction. They're building momentum as the playoffs go along, and in my opinion, were more impressive, much more impressive in the divisional round than they were against a somewhat depleted Bengals team in the wild card round. And then you look at the New England Patriots, the AFC East champions, 12-4 in the regular season, have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. This is what they played all season for, was to get this game in Foxborough with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. They were a team that had to struggle to get there, though. They twice were down 14 points in the divisional round to a very game Baltimore Ravens team, and then they found a way to hold on and win 35-31. So when you look at this matchup, you know, it's not so cut and dry. On the one hand, the Patriots have loads of experience in their corner. You've got Tom Brady, one of the all-time greats at the quarterback position, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a 5-time Super Bowl quarterback. Same with your head coach, Bill Belichick, who has loads of championship experience going back to his days way back as a coordinator under Bill Parcells with the New York Giants. You've got all that championship experience there, and the experience of being in this spot as an organization time after time after time. This is the 4th straight year that the New England Patriots find themselves in the AFC Championship game, having won it in the 2011 season and having lost the last 2 years to the Ravens in the 2012 season and then the Broncos last season. Experience is all there. Whereas the Colts, you look at them, and this is a team that is retooled very nicely behind Andrew Luck. This is a team that every year has taken that next step. After that disastrous 2011 season where Manning was out the whole year, they draft Andrew Luck. They go to the playoffs in 2012. 2013, they win a playoff game. Now 2014, they've won 2 playoff games and are that close to making it to the Super Bowl, with Andrew Luck only being in his 3rd season. Really incredible if you truly think about it from an Indianapolis Colts standpoint. So who's going to win this game? Well, I'll tell you first how each team can win this game. When you look at the Indianapolis Colts, they need to do several things. First, they need to establish Boom Herron early. Boom Herron makes a difference. They need Boom Herron to make some plays. They need to make sure that they don't create a situation where they themselves are one-dimensional, because if you allow the Patriots and Bill Belichick and that defense to game plan for you only being one-dimensional, it's not going to be a good day at the office. In particular, what's going to happen is Luck is going to have to feel like he's going to have to carry too much of the burden, shoulder too much of the load, and that's when the mistakes are going to happen. Because for all the greatness of Andrew Luck, there are times where he makes some incredibly boneheaded, ridiculously stupid Brett Favre type of decisions, frankly. And the more pressure, burden, and load that you place at his feet and on his shoulders, the more likely he's going to exhibit those Favreisms, if you will. One thing that could help him, along with establishing Boom Herron in the running game and as a receiver in the passing game, is they've got to be able to get their tight ends Fleener and Allen involved and interested early. This is very tough to match up with for any NFL defense when you have two tight ends that can make plays. The Broncos really struggled with that, with the Colts being able to get Fleener and Allen, in particular Fleener, established early on in that divisional round matchup. Andrew Luck's best security blanket can be the tight end. And he has a pair of tight ends that could be great security blankets for him. That could be a matchup nightmare for the New England Patriots. Frankly, they need Andrew Luck to outplay Tom Brady because from a team standpoint, it would look like the Patriots are a better team. They need Andrew Luck to be what the NFL media portrays Andrew Luck to be. If Andrew Luck wants to be that elite quarterback, which he is definitely on the cusp of being, these are the type of matchups that he has to thrive in. This is the type of game that he has to step up to the plate, and he has to beat arguably one of the truly great clutch quarterbacks of our lifetimes. He must outplay Tom Brady. Not just with the plays he makes, but maybe in the fact with the plays he doesn't make, in particular the mistakes and the potential turnovers. Now, defensively, the Colts need to sit there and get some pressure in Tom Brady's face. One of the biggest problems for the Ravens in that divisional round, while they got some pressure on Tom Brady, they got home a couple of times, they didn't get nearly the pressure that I anticipated them getting, which was in particular surprising because they were basically able, because of those multiple 14-point leads that they jumped out to in the game, were able to eliminate the Patriots' running game and make the Patriots one-dimensional, make them a throwing team, say, you have to throw to beat us, and that's what Tom Brady and the Patriots did. And they did that in part because they did a much better job of protecting Tom Brady in the pocket than we maybe anticipated. The Colts have to get some pressure in Brady's face. They did a good job of getting some pressure in Manning's face at the divisional round. They got to him a couple of times. They got some other pressure on him. They're going to have to be able to do the same thing here. They also are going to need to be able to cover and tackle like they did versus the Broncos. It was an incredibly impressive defensive performance for the Indianapolis Colts. They were able to cover very well, keep things in front of them. If they did allow something over the top, there was the double team there. And they have to be able to keep guys in front of them and tackle as well as they did for the most part in that divisional round. They also need to find a way defensively, easier said than done, to minimize Gronk's impact on the game. Now, I don't know if they need to necessarily roll double, triple coverage on Gronk, but they might have to. Because I would rather take my chances with Danny Amendola and Julian Edelman and Brandon LaFell beating me with Tom Brady throwing the ball than I would with Rob Gronkowski getting the ball from Tom Brady. Because it's been established in the past that Rob Gronkowski can beat you with Tom Brady throwing him the ball. You have to be able to find a way to minimize Gronk's impact on this game. You just have to. From a Patriots standpoint, they have to be able to run the ball. They ran 13 times for a total of 14 yards against the Baltimore Ravens. That ain't going to get it done. And as for as bad as Peyton Manning and that Broncos offense played against the Colts in the divisional round, and as well as the Colts defense played in general, they still struggled to contain C.J. Anderson on the ground. He averaged over 4 yards a carry. Frankly, the Broncos should have went to that well a whole lot more. And they didn't, and that's their fault. The Patriots won the regular season matchup against the Colts in dominant fashion, in part because Jonas Gray had 201 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. He had a monster beast performance. Now, whether that comes from Jonas Gray or LeGarrette Blount, like last year in the playoffs when Blount went off on him and had a huge game, or Shane Vereen, they need somebody in that Patriots backfield to be that type of guy that has really caused all types of nightmares and matchup problems for the Colts. Because when I talk about keys to victory for the Colts, they have to be able to stop the run. Well, they really need to figure out a way to somewhat minimize the impact of the running game for the New England Patriots, because it killed them last year in the playoffs. LeGarrette Blount went off. It killed them this year in the regular season because Jonas Gray went off. It's been a big reason why the Colts under Andrew Luck haven't been able to find a way to beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. They have to find a way offensively to be able to get Amendola involved and interested early. You can see the impact that he had on the game when they got him involved with the Ravens. They've got to be able to protect Tom Brady. That goes without saying. And they need to find a way to get some pressure on Andrew Luck. If you allow Andrew Luck to sit in the pocket relatively unmolested and just allow him to look over your defense and pick you apart, That's what he's going to do. And in large part, that's exactly what happened against the Denver Broncos in the divisional round. They didn't hit him, I don't believe, a single time. No real pressure, no sacks, no hits. That meant Andrew Luck could pretty much do what he wanted to do. And if you're allowing an opposing quarterback, a young, talented quarterback on the brink of taking that next step into elite land in Andrew Luck, you can't allow him to just sit there and pick you apart, because he very well could. The Patriots must get some pressure on Andrew Luck, and this is something that they really struggle with against the Ravens and Joe Flacco, and this could be a real Achilles heel for this Patriots team. They need Ninkovich and they need Chandler Jones to generate some pass rush. If they need to bring 6 in a blitz to get some pressure on Andrew Luck, then that's what they need to do. They cannot allow Andrew Luck to have time to pass to the pocket, as it will not end well. And they also defensively need to find a way to prevent both Fleener and Allen from getting involved. If they could take one of those tight ends out of the equation, preferably Coby Fleener, and minimize his impact, which a guy like Belichick, when he has time to game plan like that, he can take those tight ends out of the game. It's going to limit Andrew Luck's options, and it's going to shorten the field for him a little bit, and it's going to narrow the throwing alleys for Andrew Luck, and it could be a big-time boon to the success of the Patriots defense in this game. A lot of indicators sit here and point to the Patriots winning this game, frankly. It's in Foxborough, even though I don't think that's as great of a home field advantage as people might think. It might be a little bit more of a home field advantage this week against a Colts team built for indoor play, as opposed to what it was last week against a Ravens team that's gone to New England and beat them there before. You've also got a Patriots team with loads of experience and championship experience at that, especially at key places, namely head coach and quarterback. This is a team that has been in this spot the previous 3 seasons, so they know what it takes to get to this spot, and they know how they can win or lose in this type of spot. They own the Colts in recent matchups, and you would think that Belichick wouldn't try and reinvent the wheel here too much, that he would understand that they have to be able to run the ball early and often, because that's been the reason why they've beaten the Colts in recent matches. A lot of things point to the Patriots winning this game and going on to Super Bowl 49. This is why they brought in Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner in the offseason, what have you. With that said, though, the Colts have a lot of momentum in their favor. We've seen this a lot of times in the past, where a team gets in in the wild card round, even as divisional champions. They win the wild card round. They win the divisional round. And then they've really figured things out by the time they get to the championship game. You're looking at a Colts team that has gotten better each of the past 2 weeks in the playoffs. They were impressive against the Bengals, and even more so, I think, by far against the Denver Broncos in Denver. They already went to Denver and beat Peyton Manning and the Broncos there. I don't think they'll be intimidated going into Foxborough and facing Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, even though that's a whole different level entirely. This is a Colts team that can beat the New England Patriots. If they can have some effectiveness in terms of containing the Patriots' running game, if Andrew Luck can eliminate some of those mistakes, it's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but it can happen. If they can cover and tackle as well as they did against the Denver Broncos, this Indianapolis Colts team that has progressed over the past 3 seasons could take that next step right here, right now. It might not be 2015 season. It might be right here, right now, where the Indianapolis Colts can find a way to become the new standard bearers in the AFC. And that's exactly what I believe is going to happen. Look, I picked the Indianapolis Colts to go to Super Bowl 49 before the season even began. We won't talk about the NFC side. But I've been big on the Colts all year long. Every season under Andrew Luck, they have taken steps and they have taken progression. Chuck Pagano, I think, has done a really good job on the defensive side of the ball. Their defense has been really damn good the past 2 weeks in the playoffs when it matters the most. When I look at this matchup, there's still something there, too, about the fact that the Patriots have been in the spot the previous 2 times and they've lost in the AFC Championship game. More often than not, to me, with Belichick teams, they're like the Atlanta Braves in recent years in the sense where they get to a certain point, but they can't get over the hump. And I'm not sure that this team is that much different than previous year's teams that failed to get over that hump to be able to go to the Super Bowl and be able to win it all. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts here. They were my pick to make the Super Bowl in the AFC before the season, and they're my pick now. Mock me if you want. I'll take the Colts to beat the Patriots on Sunday evening, 23-20.